All right, good evening. Welcome back into Finity. Glad you're here. I'm Rob Finity. Got about a week left until Christmas, so I'm burning up all the holiday ties here. So hope you enjoy. If you don't, well, it's okay. Here's a simple question we're going to ask. What is going on in the state of Rhode Island after a mass shooter escaped from Brown University? What are these people trying to hide at this point? Blue state, blue city, blue university. We knew that. But when was the last time you saw a school shooter, a mass shooter, just get away, just escape? 2 people are dead, 9 more in the hospital, and nobody there has a clue where the shooter is or what's going on. They don't even have guns in Australia, yet they were able to get the shooters. But in Providence, Rhode Island, home to Brown University, they are dealing with a unique type of incompetence that we have never seen before, from the police chief and from the mayor to the university president. They don't seem to have any idea what's going on. This is now beyond parody at this point. It took 5 days for police to arrest Luigi Mangione. And after Charlie Kirk was assassinated in September, it took 3 days to arrest Tyler Robinson. But here we are, Tuesday night, day number 4 of the investigation. 11 people are shot in the engineering building in a city. These students were studying for final exams. 2 of those students will never get to take that exam. And instead of doing everything possible to try and track down the killer, instead of that being the sole focus, the investigation is being run by people who are more concerned with DEI than they are with finding the killer. Here's someone telling Oscar Perez, the police chief, also a Colombian immigrant, which normally wouldn't be relevant, but it is tonight. We'll show you why, not to use the word custody when describing the suspect they had in custody at that time, suggesting, again, during a live press conference, that maybe he use a different word like detained. Maybe that would be more appropriate because, of course, we don't want to offend anyone.
Releasing this 10-second clip to now someone's in custody, kind of how you all are working together to garner that information.
Custody is the wrong word.
Someone being detained, rather.
Correct. And so, yeah, someone being detained, it led us to that point as far as, like, when we started, obviously, it's a fast move.
The shooter, the man who killed 2 people, also apparently yelled something just before he opened fire, but no one in charge of this investigation wants to tell the public what he yelled because the woke mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, and the DEI police chief don't want to offend anybody. Okay? Even if it helps the investigation, they don't want to offend anybody, meaning both the mayor of Providence and the chief of police there are more comfortable risking the lives of more innocent people instead of telling the public what the killer shouted, which could help with the investigation. This person, of course, mowing down 11 people on Saturday.
There's a report the shooter yelled something right before his shot came in. Can you tell us what that was?
Yeah, it's part of the investigation, John, and
Now, the only reason I asked that, though, is, for instance, like with the Unabomber, his brother recognized the writing. So it's possible a friend or family member might recognize if the person said something that was significant.
Correct.
That's why you don't, other than the 9mm, is there anything else inside that auditorium that you could tell us?
No, that's correct. And listen, like I said earlier, investigations will bring us to evidence that we need to collect in order to be able to prosecute.
Did he yell them?
So that's something that we're investigating. We took statements and we have to confirm that.
What do you mean? What did he yell? What did he yell? Okay, because the killer's still on the loose. The killer yelled something before he opened fire. But the Providence police chief, DEI hire, right there, and the mayor standing behind him with the glasses, don't think it's relevant. They don't think the public needs to know what this guy yelled. Did he yell Allah Akbar? We don't know because they won't tell us. Did he yell Merry Christmas? We don't know because they won't tell us, because whatever he did yell probably, most likely, does not fit their DEI inclusivity narrative. But I can guarantee you what he didn't yell. He didn't yell, "This is Trump country." He didn't yell, "Make America great again." Guaranteed. And when the facts do come out, and they will, they always do, we will not be surprised if we learn that this is just the latest example of left-on-right violence. We should know what he yelled at this point. The killer is still on the loose. But we currently have an investigation being run by diversity, equity, and inclusion instead of common sense, to the point where Oscar Perez, that DEI police chief, continues to hold press conferences. Again, this is Providence, Rhode Island, not Bogota. He's holding them in a foreign language, which is wonderful for all of our Spanish-speaking friends, but maybe it's not so helpful to the parents of the two victims who live in Virginia and Alabama, who are desperately trying to figure out why their two kids were murdered. So maybe we can just dispense with the virtue signaling until the investigation is over.
Gracias, sí, verdaderamente estamos acá esta noche para demostrarles los highlights del progreso que hemos hecho en el departamento y quiero identificar que es una colaboración del departamento de la policía de Providence.
Even the sign language person, they can't do their stuff because they don't sign in two languages. That's a different skill. But when he goes back to English, it's back to the sign language. Again, we have no problem with the Spanish language or people that speak it, but this is America where our official language is English. We're not saying that to offend anyone. We're saying it because it's a fact. In America, elected officials should speak English. They don't do that in China. They don't do that in Russia. They don't break into some other language. But for some reason, we're so afraid of offending people here in America that we do it all the time, and nobody points this out. Nobody says a word about it, like it's perfectly normal. And if Oscar Perez speaks Spanish at home with his family or when he's out in the community in Providence, fine. I don't care. But when he's leading an investigation after 11 people were violently gunned down, you should speak English and you should be honest. But Oscar Perez, the DEI police chief of Providence, Rhode Island, is not being honest. In fact, his message to the community that he serves along with the mayor, was almost the exact opposite of the message from the FBI on this same day. According to the mayor and the police chief, people in Providence should, quote, feel safe and secure in our city, even though a killer is still on the loose. Doesn't make a lot of sense. That same day, the FBI said, quote, the madman who committed a mass shooting is still out there and armed and dangerous. Same microphone, same podium, same day. Two very different messages about the same situation. How can residents feel safe when there's still a madman on the loose? Maybe still in Providence. Could be anywhere by now. Mayor Smiley, we just don't know. And here's Mayor Smiley. This is the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island. His name's Brett Smiley. He's the first openly gay mayor of Providence, and boy, he lets you know at every turn. He campaigned wearing an "Abortion is Our Right" t-shirt, even though Mayor Smiley, as far as we know, has never and cannot have a baby. Mayor Smiley also tweeted in June that the pride flag will hang proudly over the Rhode Island State Capitol building as a sign of inclusivity, because that matters. It doesn't, and it was the trans pride flag, a brand new flag they just invented. And here's Mayor Smiley telling the families of the two students that were murdered that this has been a hard investigation, but the community, wouldn't you know it, is coming together and they're lighting candles, and it was cold out while a killer runs free.
It's starting to get very personal for our community, which is hard. And that's, I think, where we are sort of emotionally in the process. But we're here for one another. That's the scary side. The upside is that this is a tight-knit community that looks out for one another. The governor was there. All the officials who were up here with me tonight were with us at Lippert Park last night. It was 10 degrees. It was loosely organized. And yet hundreds of people came out because they wanted to be with one another.
Wow, that's so special. It was 10 degrees, don't you say? 11 people were shot in your city. I don't care what the temperature was. I don't care if you're out there holding candles, okay? That's what happens when you elect someone based on feelings and inclusivity and pride flags and DEI. That's what happens when you elect the wrong person for a very important job. It's all great, flags and candles, until something happens. And something just happened on Saturday in Providence, Rhode Island. It's been more than 3 days since two college students were brutally murdered, a freshman and a sophomore, their lives cut tragically short. And crucial facts about this investigation are being kept from the public that could help with the investigation, because the DEI mayor and the DEI police chief don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. If this shooter did yell Allah Akbar, we don't know that, but if that did happen, they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. The other part of this story is one that's not getting the attention it should, even today on Tuesday. This might have been a targeted political attack. One of the victims, 19-year-old Ella Cook, the vice president of the College Republicans, a group that had only 20 members at Brown. She was a conservative Christian, a Catholic from Alabama who happened to support Donald Trump, and that might have been her crime. It might have been, just our opinion. But what we're seeing play out right now in Providence and at an Ivy League university, in another city and school run by liberals, the differences between blue states and red states on display yet again. And those differences should be clear tonight, where in a blue city, officials are more concerned with inclusivity, checking boxes, things that don't matter, and not hurting anyone's feelings instead of public safety and tracking down a violent killer who is still on the run. And joining us now for more on what needs to happen next year is retired FBI special agent, someone who is an expert in criminal investigations, Bobby Chacon. Bobby, appreciate you being here. Can you just comment on what looks to us like just complete incompetence from the mayor and the police chief in Providence, Rhode Island?
Well, I mean, I echo a lot of your thoughts that you just espoused, Rob. I mean, there is no sense of strength of dealing with a crime of this magnitude. You have to get up there and you have to say, this will not stand in our community. We will hunt you down. We will track you down. We will make you pay with the full force and effect of our laws. And anyone else that's even thinking about this should understand that you will not get away with it and we will hold you accountable. Yeah. Instead, he's out there talking about feelings. He's not answering the right questions. There's no sense that anybody's in control there. And the community is rightfully probably in fear because the leadership is simply lacking. He looks like he's the student body president of Brown and not the mayor of a major city.
Yeah, it's such a good point. Even tonight, they just had a press conference about an hour ago, and the police chief, he had no idea where this Ring camera footage from houses on that street near the engineering building, he didn't realize that it came from Ring cameras from private homeowners. He just looked ridiculous yet again. Take a look.
Cameras inside and outside the engineering building, are those working at all? And if so, why not release some of those videos?
So the video that we showed you came from inside the building, and that's all we had at the moment, and that's all we have at this moment. Correct.
Inside the engineering building, though?
I'm sorry?
It's from the outside of the building.
From the outside, so do you have video from inside the engineering building?
Both inside and outside. I'm sorry, just outside. That's all we have, not inside. No, I'm sorry, just outside.
Again, this guy has just no idea. How big a problem is it?
First
when
he says
DEI...
it's only from the inside, and he gets corrected from somebody behind him. And then he says it's only from the outside, and he gets corrected again.
And then he gets corrected by some rookie Cub reporter who's standing 4 feet in front of him. Again, on Sunday, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because I understand the investigation is very fluid. It's Tuesday night. How big a deal is it when you hire DEI people, the wrong people for an important job, like the police chief and mayor of one of the biggest cities in New England? Third biggest city in New England by population is Providence.
And somebody should get him an apple box to stand on. But like, he needs to kind of, it's wrong when you're not doing a good job when each reporter is following up on a colleague's last question because he didn't answer that one. So they're all following up on each other's questions because they're not getting answers.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the local media. They're asking a lot of good questions. I-95, major highway on the eastern seaboard here, runs right through Providence, Rhode Island. There's an exit to get on to I-95, less than a half mile away from where this happened. Could this guy, this shooter, be anywhere by now?
Absolutely. Depending on how much planning he did, how much resources he has at his disposal, he could have got on a train, he could have got on a plane. I mean, he could be anywhere by now. Absolutely.
Okay. The other thing that stands out to me is he's wearing a COVID mask. And we see this all the time. We see this with criminals here in New York City on the subway. The COVID mask, a lot of times people wear these when they commit crimes. COVID ended a long time ago, started almost 6 years ago. At some point, should we ban these masks? Because criminals are using them to evade arrest.
I mean, Robin, now we know even during COVID, they didn't do anything. So the masks weren't even effective. So yeah, I mean, I guess in certain situations you shouldn't be allowed. And I know some places you're not allowed to wear masks, but that's the state we live in. The virtue signaling of wearing a mask is evident everywhere. And criminal element is very adaptable, and they will exploit anything they can to get away with their crimes. And that's what they're doing now. Are you surprised, just as a former FBI agent, and you've done a lot of criminal investigations in your career and counterterrorism investigations, are you surprised that the FBI hasn't at least taken over the press availability and the press conference? Get a pro in there, somebody who knows what's going on and knows how to answer questions from the media instead of what we've had for the last 4 days.
I am a little bit. I think that the FBI should take over, especially if
these rumors that he yelled "Allahu Akbar" are true, that would make it a terrorist act. That would make it federal jurisdiction. That would bring in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and then the FBI could start doing these briefings. Hopefully they're more forthcoming than the FBI under the previous administration, who would bury manifestos, who would bury comments made by killers and things if it didn't fit a certain narrative. So hopefully this new administration, the FBI would take over and be more forthcoming.
Again, none of that reporting has been confirmed, but if he did yell Allah Akbar, that is radical Islamic terrorism on the exact same day that it happened in Australia. And that is a bad story for the left. That's a bad story for Mayor Smiley and the DEI police chief there as well. Bobby Chacon, appreciate you being with us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.